Good evening, dear Kuwait television viewers, and welcome to another new episode of your weekly program, Kuwait in 30 Minutes. The English News and Political Programs Department has prepared a variety of reports that highlight the main events that have recently taken place across Kuwait. Our committed team of reporters is constantly engaged in numerous events with the objective of keeping you, dear viewers, aware of the latest information, regulations, and policies. Our aim is to help you obtain information on the latest developments at the local scene. So stay tuned for more coming your way this evening. In our first item tonight, a delegation from the World Health Organization (WHO) recently visited the state of Kuwait and praised the procedures taken by the government to stem the spread of the coronavirus in the country. The delegation had a close look at the steps taken by the Ministry of Health to safeguard the lives of citizens and residents and reassure the nation. Our reporter Hadil Fahad brings us more details in this report.
To reduce the new coronavirus outbreak, a WHO delegation visits Kuwait to see what the Ministry of Health is doing to reduce the virus.
We are going to visit the quarantine place of those people who have been identified, looking at more deep view of the system here in Kuwait, which I have no doubt, inshallah, it is a very strong system. I went myself through the surveillance system in the airport. I found it efficient, and I have seen people moving there with no worry, no fear, So I'm really happy with the arrangements that have been taken here in Kuwait.
The delegation provided the most important advice that should be followed by the individuals and society.
As always said by experts, coronavirus is yes, a new virus, but it is not different from other, coronaviruses that will cause influenza-like symptoms. So my recommendation to the community and citizens to take care of and implement whatever measures, hygienic measures that help us all avoid, getting infected from influenza-like viruses. Washing hands, avoiding close contacts with those people who have been infected, seeking the healthcare service the first moment I develop symptoms.
And whether if the summer really kills the virus?
This is a fact, viruses are weak in hot environments, and summer is coming soon, inshallah, and this virus will be weak.
There are intense efforts since the emergency of the virus in cooperation with various state institutions to protect citizens and residents in the regions in general. From the Ministry of Health, reporting to Kuwait in 30 Minutes, this is Hadil Fahad.
In the circumstances that the country is witnessing due to the outbreak of coronavirus, the Red Crescent Society, in cooperation with the Ministry of Health, has devoted all its efforts to back the ministry's endeavor to prevent the spread of the virus. The chairman of the board of directors of the Red Crescent Society stressed to provide all assistance and capabilities to serve the country. Hadil Fahad has more details in this report.
As for the topic of the efforts devoted by the Red Crescent Society to limit the spread of the new coronavirus, the association cooperates with the Ministry of Health in order to serve the country in any of the hospitals, health centers, or place of reservation. The Red Crescent Society harnesses all its capabilities to serve the community.
First of all, before we start cooperation with the Ministry of Health, I'd like to announce that the Ministry of Health has done a marvelous job in trying to contain the coronavirus. And this is because also we have followed the World Health Organization scheme to control the virus in Kuwait. And there's been a lot of talk in the media and in the social media that there's been a lot of mess up in trying to catch these cases. It's not true. What they've done is exactly what the WHO wanted and more.
The association works to spread awareness of this virus through educational lectures and publications. The president of the association emphasized the importance of this cooperation to reduce the spread of the diseases. From the Ministry of Health, reporting to Kuwait in 30 minutes, this is Hadi Fahad.
The Red Crescent Society, through its volunteers, contributed to the fight against the outbreak of the coronavirus epidemic in the country. It has used a number of its volunteers to distribute sterilizers and masks in various areas within Kuwait during the current difficult time. More details with Hadi Fahad.
The Red Crescent Society announced its participation with the Ministry of Health in opening the door for volunteers and locating them to various sites with the Ministry of Health as a contribution to reduce the spread of the coronavirus.
Regarding the Red Crescent Society, we have been cooperating with the Ministry of Health. They asked us for 90 volunteers as administrators for the Khafji isolation area. And we have, at the moment there, our people helping out with the Ministry of Health. Furthermore, we've also allocated around 50,000 masks, and we are now distributing them for the Ministry of Social Affairs. Also, we have ordered a lot of hygiene for the hands, and we're also going to distribute it. So this cooperation is between most ministries in Kuwait, not just the Ministry of Health.
The Red Crescent Society opens the door for those who wish to cooperate with it in order to serve the country, whether in hospitals, health centers, or others.
Well, it's a long process. They have to first have a course of 2 weeks with principles of volunteering. Then they have to fill up a form, and they have to have 2 photographs and their ID. This goes to the Ministry of Interior to see if he has any record of problems. And then it's given to the board of directors of the Kuwait Red Crescent Society, and he's accepted.
This crisis confirms that the various state institutions stand together to work to serve the country and contribute to overcoming the crisis of the corona epidemic. Reporting to Kuwait in 30 minutes, this is Hadi Fahad.
The Embassy of Canada in Kuwait recently hosted a reception on the occasion of the Canadian Flag Day. The event was celebrating both the Flag Day and the Canada Day. The reception was also attended by many diplomats, businessmen, and members of the Canadian community in Kuwait. Here is more with Saleh Labedi.
The Canadian Embassy in Kuwait hosted a reception on the occasion of the Canadian Flag Day. The event was attended by the Deputy Foreign Minister, Mr. Khalid Al-Jarallah, and the Assistant Foreign Minister for the Americas Affairs.
Our National Day is actually on July 1st. We call it Canada Day. But because it's in the summer here in Kuwait, we try to celebrate our National Day with our Kuwaiti friends a little earlier. So we decided to do it on Flag Day, which is the day that marks this year actually the 55th anniversary of our new flag, which is very distinct. And we're very happy to be able to mark that day and to celebrate with all of our friends from Kuwait and from all over the world.
It is a very nice occasion, and I would like to congratulate through you to the Canadians living in Kuwait in their National Day and Flag Day.
The Canadian Flag Day is celebrated across Canada and abroad by millions of Canadian citizens and residents. The current Canadian flag dates back to February of 1965, as the maple leaf flag replaced the previous Canadian red ensign flag.
Today, the Embassy of Canada in Kuwait has celebrated the Canadian Flag Day. This is Sahih Al-Ubaidi reporting for Kuwait in 30 minutes.
And coming up next, the Spanish Embassy in Kuwait recently coordinated a seminar about the invasion of Kuwait that was dedicated to the Spanish community in the country. The seminar, which was hosted at the Kuwait National Library, was in efforts to educate them about the history and culture of Kuwait. Here is more with Saleh Al-Abedi.
The Embassy of Spain hosted a seminar in Spanish at the Kuwait National Library, which explained the history and facts regarding the Iraqi invasion to Kuwait. Two members of the Spanish community, which was delivered by Professor Juan Federico Valles.
There are at least 700 Spaniards registered, but of course the Spanish-speaking community is even bigger, and it's a quite dynamic community, and it's interesting for them that once they are here in Kuwait, working, living, that they know more about Kuwait in their own mother tongue. So it was interesting to host this event here in the National Library, thanks to the director, so that they can learn more about Kuwait in their own mother tongue and kind of feel themselves more at home, I think, here in Kuwait in these days, which are very close already to the Liberation Day, to understand.
Well, there's a very large Spanish-speaking community here in Kuwait. They have been here for many decades. Some of them were witness of the invasion of Kuwait in 1990, but some of them are new immigrants, and they want to know more about the history of the place where they live. So the idea was to inform them about what were the causes and the consequences of the invasion of Kuwait in 1990. They love the country, they have their families here, this is their home, and they want to know more about the history of the place so they can understand exactly what is the context in which these celebrations are being played. So I'm pretty sure that the people that came today will participate in the celebrations next week with an addition of their knowledge of the events of 1990.
The seminar was coordinated to educate the Spanish community about the National and Liberation Day celebrations, and in order for them to understand this part of Kuwaiti history.
I think it has been a not only important but also interesting occasion today with the lecture of Professor Federico Vélez. On these days that very soon we are going to celebrate the National Day and the Liberation Day of Kuwait, it is important for the Hispanic community to learn a little bit more about the history of Kuwait, about what happened here, what has happened here in the recent years. Aside of celebrating, as I mentioned, the Liberation Day, it is important to know the meaning of what we are celebrating. So this way, I think this lecture today was really, really important because in a very simple way, show all of us what happened on those days 30 years ago in Kuwait, and how this invasion of Iraq in those days affected the region, affected Kuwait, and how still we can see many consequences of this invasion, no? And this invasion will still have consequences in the future, in the near and mid-term future. So we should not forget about history lessons. It is very costly to any country, to any people to forget history, because if you forget history, you are condemned to repeat the same mistakes.
Members of the community were satisfied with the seminar and got the opportunity to socialize and network amongst each other. The Spanish Embassy in Kuwait co-hosted a lecture titled The Invasion of Kuwait with the National Library of Kuwait. This was Sahir Abaidi reporting for Kuwait in 30 minutes.
And in the following report, the faculty flow at Kuwait University recently organized in cooperation with the International Organization for Women Empowerment, the second international conference under the slogan Legal Legislation and Social Prospects. The opening of the conference confirmed the continuation of the development plan and achieving the vision of 2035 in various fields. More details with our colleague Hadil Fahad.
Believing in the role played by the Faculty of Law and providing what serves the community and shedding light on the legal legislation related to women and children, the Faculty of Law at Kuwait University organized, in cooperation with the International Organization for Women Empowerment and Capacity Building, the second International Conference of Legislation.
We have 5 sessions where we have some researchers and our academic researchers and faculty members locally and internationally, around 40 speakers, and the 5 sessions divided into 3 days, starting from today until Thursday. They're going to talk about their research. Yeah, with the audience, and there's going to be some interactions, and they have open discussion about their research.
Legislation of these laws is one of the achievements that support the development plan and Kuwait's Vision 2035 and includes a number of academics inside and outside Kuwait.
We have here the Unit of Research and Statistics as part of the College of Social Sciences, and we provide research and statistical consultations, and it's open for everybody. We accept everybody, whether they are faculty members from Kuwait University or from other governmental university or other private university, and even from any students, whether it's undergraduate, graduate from Kuwait, from outside, and we provide them the research and statistical services.
The conference discusses selected practical papers and workshops and grants accredited certificates from the Deanship of the Faculty of Law. Reporting to Kuwait in 30 minutes.
The Made in Qatar exhibition that was opened on February 19th represented a forum that brought together all Qatari companies and factories under one umbrella. It provided an opportunity for manufacturers to meet business owners and investors to get to know the Qatari industry and its advantages, as well as explore the new industries that the Qatari market needs. More details with Hadil Fahad in the following report.
The Qatari Chamber announced that the third edition externally from the Made in Qatar exhibition will be launched in the state of Kuwait during the period from 19 to 22 of this February, as it's organized by the Chamber in cooperation with the Ministry of Trade and Industry and in strategic partnership from Qatar Development Bank and in coordination with the Kuwait Chamber of Commerce and Industry. This event was announced during a press conference held by the Chamber. The Chamber is seeking through the organizations of the Made of Qatar exhibition outside the country to promote the Qatari product externally after local products have proved a great success in the Qatari market, and Kuwait's choice is due to the strength of brotherly relations that bring together Qatar and Kuwait at all levels, especially what links the private sector in the two countries of developed trade relations. The exhibition includes all industrial sectors and looks forward to gathering businesses owners from both countries to discuss establishing joint projects and entering into alliances and economic partnerships. Reporting to Kuwait in 30 minutes.
And speaking about the same topic, the Made in Qatar Expo was launched at the Kuwait International Fair, and it also was sponsored by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and the Embassy of Qatar in Kuwait. The expo took place to show the people of Kuwait the manufacturing sector in the state of Qatar. Here is more with our colleague Saleh Labedi.
The Made in Qatar Expo was launched in the Kuwait International Fair, where Qatari companies showcased their products that were manufactured in the state of Qatar.
We are participating, as may already know. There is a lot of partnership between Qatar Chamber and the Commerce Chamber in Kuwait, and this is in order to promote any product which is made in Qatar, and to reach out to investors who will actually invest in Qatar to export those products or import it to Kuwait, and then this is the whole idea of it, to ensure that there is exchange of commodities and trade.
There was a diversity of Qatari products that were ranged from metals to foods to electronics, most of which were launched under the last 4 years.
Qatar Development Bank is the arm for supporting the private sector in Qatar. We provide loans, and also we provide investment through our venture capital funds towards startups. We also, of course, support our Qatari exporters by providing them support, financial and non-financial, for their exports to world markets.
We have wood recycle. We have 3 brands here. Brackets wood. This is for fire, for alarm, and also have shaving wood. This is using for horse stable and farm stable, and also we have charcoal. This is our production right now, and we're really looking to work and make big business here. We just only showing to cooperation with somebody is starting very well, and inshallah we too much positive thinking here and hoping too much.
The Qatari products were of high quality and were made to fill the void of the GCC crisis, where the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates cut all ties with the state of Qatar.
Today we are gathered here for the launch of the Made in Qatar Expo here at the Kuwait International Fair. This was Saleh Labedi reporting for Kuwait in 30 minutes.
Well, this brings us to the conclusion of tonight's episode of Kuwait in 30 minutes. We hope to see you again same time next week. Our highly dedicated team of correspondents is constantly out on the field, searching for reports that matter most to you. Thank you for joining us tonight, and see you next week with more exclusive reports. Have a good night.